The path to manifestation isn't blocked by what you're doing on the surface. It's blocked by the identity running underneath everything. You can visualize, affirm, and plan, but if your daily thoughts still default to scarcity, doubt, and old stories, your life keeps matching that version of you. The real shift starts when you notice the patterns you repeat on autopilot, the hesitation before action, the familiar excuses, the inner voice that expects things to go wrong. Manifestation isn't waiting for the universe to change, it's stepping into the version of you that already lives like the outcome is normal. The path to manifestation is often thought of as a straightforward one. Visualize what you want, believe in it, and wait for it to show up. But what if the reason your manifestations aren't materializing has less to do with what you're doing and more to do with who you are being? What if the very identity you hold, the beliefs you've built around yourself, and the thoughts you think daily are silently blocking the flow of abundance, love, and success you're trying to manifest? The truth is, the old self, the version of you that is still tethered to the past, can quietly sabotage your manifestations without you even realizing it. Manifestation isn't about wishing for things or hoping that something outside of you will change. It's about aligning with the frequency of your desires. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that already has what you want. But for that to happen, there has to be a shift in your identity. You must release the old version of yourself, those beliefs, habits, and thought patterns that no longer serve you. When you're holding on to outdated versions of who you are, it's like carrying around a heavy weight that keeps you anchored in a reality you no longer want to be a part of. So, how does the old self play a role in all this? Why is it so powerful in holding us back? To understand this, we need to recognize that the old self operates largely in the subconscious mind. It's not something we consciously choose to continue. It's something we've been programmed into over the years through experiences, societal conditioning, and family influences. It's a collection of beliefs about who we are, what we deserve, and how the world works. These beliefs can be as subtle as the way we expect things to go wrong, or as blatant as the fear we have of not being good enough or worthy of what we desire. For example, you might desire financial abundance and begin affirming to yourself that you are deserving of wealth. However, deep down, if your old self believes that money is scarce, that it's hard to come by, or that you'll never be able to achieve it, then those beliefs will dominate your efforts. You can say affirmations all day long, but if your subconscious mind is filled with limiting beliefs around money, those manifestations will be blocked at the energetic level. The old self's thought patterns keep you stuck in a frequency of lack and limitation, even when you consciously desire more. Even more insidious is the way the old self clings to the past. We all have memories, stories, and experiences that shape who we think we are. But often, these past experiences are not reflections of our true selves, they're just old narratives that were built on circumstances that no longer exist. You may have experienced failure, rejection, or disappointment in the past, and those experiences might have created a story about your life. You might believe on a deep level that you are destined for struggle, that success is only for others, or that the universe is against you. These old stories have an undeniable grip on the present moment, and they continue to shape how you show up in the world. You may not even be consciously aware of these stories. They've become so ingrained that they run in the background of your mind like a looping playlist. You might be surprised to learn that these old narratives are likely affecting your current circumstances. You could have the desire to shift your life, to step into your fullest potential, but if you're still holding on to a version of yourself that is defined by past pain, trauma, or struggle, then that is the version of you that is attracting more of the same. In this state, manifestation becomes almost impossible. The old self doesn't just prevent us from achieving our desires, it actively works against them. This is why many people feel like they're doing all the right things, but nothing seems to shift. It's because, on a deeper level, they are still carrying around an identity that is misaligned with their dreams. They are still stuck in an old reality that they no longer want, but haven't yet let go of. The first step in manifestation is understanding that your old self doesn't have to be the version of you that creates your future. Your future self, the one who has already achieved the desires you are seeking, exists right now. It's a part of you that is already abundant, successful, loving, and in perfect alignment with your highest potential. But to step into that future self, you must first make a conscious decision to release the old self. This isn't always easy. The old self can feel safe and familiar, even when it isn't serving us. But it's only by letting go of this old identity that we can create space for a new one to emerge. It's not just about changing your thoughts or repeating affirmations. It's about truly shifting your energy, your belief system, and your sense of self. When you decide to let go of the old self, you're essentially choosing to no longer identify with past experiences, past pain, or limiting beliefs. You are choosing to step into a new reality where you are the version of yourself that is aligned with the life you desire. The process of letting go of the old self is a process of self-awareness. It requires you to ask hard questions. Who am I really? What do I truly want? What beliefs do I hold that are keeping me stuck in a reality I don't want? What parts of myself have I outgrown? What would it feel like to step into a version of me that is free from these old stories? These are questions that, when asked with openness and sincerity, can bring about a profound shift in your life. It's also important to note that letting go of the old self doesn't mean abandoning who you've been. It means releasing the parts of you that no longer serve your growth. The essence of who you are, your core being, remains the same. It's just that now you allow that essence to express itself in a way that is aligned with your highest potential. In a way, you are not so much changing who you are as you are shedding the layers that have been covering up your true self all along. The more you practice releasing the old self and stepping into alignment with the new self, the more you will notice the world around you shifting. The universe responds to the energy you emit. When you release limiting beliefs, align with your desires, and step into the highest version of yourself, the universe will reflect that energy back to you. You will start to notice opportunities, synchronicities, and manifestations flowing into your life with greater ease. This is because you are now vibrating at a frequency that is in harmony with your dreams. The journey of manifestation isn't about forcing things to happen. It's about aligning with the version of you that is already in the flow. It's about trusting that you are worthy of what you desire and allowing the universe to bring it to you in the perfect time and way. And in order to align with that flow, you must release the old self and make space for the new one. Only then will your manifestations be able to fully materialize. The first step is simple. Recognize the old self for what it is, a collection of outdated beliefs and stories that no longer serve you. Acknowledge the fear, the doubts, and the attachments that have been holding you back. And then gently begin the process of shedding those layers. The more you do this, the closer you will get to the version of yourself who is capable of manifesting anything you desire. Your manifestations are waiting for you. The question is, are you ready to let go of the old self and step into the new? The old self is like a deeply rooted tree, with branches that stretch far and wide, entwining themselves into every part of your life. It's formed through years of experiences, decisions, beliefs, and emotional conditioning. The old self is not just a reflection of who you once were, it is a compilation of all the moments that shaped your perception of the world. These influences have molded you into the person you are today, but they also hold you back from becoming the person you need to be in order to manifest your dreams. To understand how this process works, let's take a step back and examine the nature of the old self. The old self is bound to a story. This story might be made up of childhood experiences, societal expectations, or past traumas. It's the narrative that you tell yourself about who you are. I'm not good enough. I always fail at this. Success is for others, not for me. These are the kind of thoughts that the old self continuously reaffirms. The reality is, this old self holds on to the past as a source of comfort. The pain, the disappointment, the failure, though they feel limiting, they are familiar. They create a sense of safety because you've learned to cope with them. However, comfort often comes at the expense of growth. The old self thrives on certainty, even if that certainty is rooted in limitations. It avoids the unknown, which is why the idea of stepping into a new self, a version of you that is free of those old patterns, can feel so terrifying. The fear of the unknown is one of the most powerful forces that keep the old self alive. It is the belief that what I know is safer than what could be. The old self resists change because change threatens its stability. The unknown, while filled with potential and possibility, feels like a void. And in this void, the old self is unsure of its place. It would rather hold on to the familiar, even if it means remaining stuck, than venture into a new reality that is uncharted. This is why it can feel like a constant inner battle between what you know and what you want to achieve. This conflict is often present in the subconscious, where the old self fights to maintain its grip. On a conscious level, you may want to shift your life, but on a deeper level, your old self is reluctant to let go of its identity. This is where the real battle begins, not between you and the world, but between the person you've been and the person you're becoming. It's an internal struggle that can be difficult to recognize because it doesn't always show up in obvious ways. It can appear as procrastination, self-doubt, or even subtle forms of self-sabotage that derail your best intentions. It's important to recognize that this internal conflict isn't something you can simply wish away. It's part of the human experience. Everyone has an old self that seeks to hold them back, but it's the awareness of this internal struggle that gives you the power to break free. The key is to see the old self for what it is, a collection of outdated beliefs and coping mechanisms that are no longer relevant to who you are today or to the future you want to create. The new self, on the other hand, is not tied to the past. It is a version of you that is free from the constraints of limiting beliefs, old stories, and fears. This new self is aligned with the version of you that is capable of creating and receiving all that you desire. The new self operates from a place of abundance rather than scarcity, from confidence rather than doubt. It believes that anything is possible and that your dreams are within reach. But the new self doesn't just appear on its own. It requires conscious effort and intention. The shift from the old self to the new self is not something that happens overnight. It's a gradual process that involves changing the way you think, feel, and act on a daily basis. It involves letting go of the past and choosing to create a new story, one that is aligned with the person you are becoming. The key to stepping into the new self is to start with self-awareness. Self-awareness allows you to identify the old patterns that are still influencing your life. It helps you recognize the limiting beliefs and stories that have been holding you back. Once you become aware of these patterns, you can start to dismantle them, one belief at a time. This is where the real magic happens. The process of shifting from the old self to the new self is, in essence, a process of letting go. But letting go is not always easy. The old self has a way of making you believe that you need it to survive. It tells you that without your past experiences, your story of failure, or your fear of the unknown, you won't know who you are. But the truth is, the old self is not who you truly are. It is just a version of you that you have been carrying around for years. The real you, the one who is capable of manifesting your dreams, is free from all the limitations the old self imposes. The moment you begin to let go of the old self is the moment you begin to step into your true power. It's the moment you choose to release the belief that you are bound by your past, by your failures, or by any of the old narratives that have been playing in your mind. When you do this, you create space for the new self to emerge. This new version of you is open to possibilities. It embraces the unknown. It is not afraid of change. It knows that it is worthy of all the abundance and success it desires. The shift from the old self to the new self requires an intentional reprogramming of your mind. This is not about forcing yourself to think positive thoughts all the time. It's about recognizing that your thoughts are not who you are. You are not your past, your failures, or your fears. You are a being of infinite potential, capable of creating a life that aligns with your deepest desires. To step into your new self, you must first acknowledge that the old self is no longer serving you. You must become willing to release the stories, the beliefs, and the patterns that have been holding you back. This may involve revisiting old wounds, facing your fears, and confronting the parts of you that you've been avoiding. It's a process of emotional and spiritual growth that requires vulnerability, courage, and trust in yourself. As you release the old self, you will begin to notice subtle shifts in your energy. The more you let go of the limiting beliefs and patterns that have been holding you back, the more you will start to feel lighter, freer, and more aligned with the life you want to create. Opportunities will begin to flow into your life. You'll feel a sense of ease, a sense of alignment, as if everything is falling into place. This is the power of stepping into your new self, the version of you that is capable of manifesting anything you desire. The new self operates from a place of love, trust, and confidence. It understands that the universe is abundant and that it is worthy of all the good things it desires. It knows that there are no limits to what it can achieve. And as you begin to embody this new self, you'll notice that your manifestations begin to flow effortlessly into your life. The universe responds to the energy you emit. When you align yourself with your new self, one that is free from fear, scarcity, and doubt, you become a magnet for all the abundance and success you've been waiting for. This shift isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing process that requires constant awareness, practice, and commitment. The old self may try to creep back in, especially when faced with challenges or uncertainties. But each time you choose the new self, each time you let go of the old patterns and beliefs, you reinforce your alignment with your desires. You're creating a new reality, one where your dreams are already in the process of manifesting. It's time to let go of the old self and step into the new. The person you're becoming is already within you. All it takes is the courage to release the old stories and beliefs that have been holding you back, and to embrace the truth of who you really are. There is a silent force at work within us, often unnoticed, that can quietly sabotage the very things we are trying to manifest. It's not an external force. It's not something out of our control. It is, in fact, our old self, the version of us that is still clinging to past beliefs, old habits, and unhealed wounds. This silent saboteur operates in the background, subtly influencing our thoughts, feelings, and actions in ways that prevent us from aligning with the life we desire. The nature of the old self is insidious in its subtlety. It doesn't shout at us or make itself overtly obvious. Instead, it operates through small, almost imperceptible patterns. It's in the way we doubt ourselves, second-guess our decisions, or procrastinate when it comes to taking action toward our goals. It shows up in the little voice in our head that tells us, "You can't do this," or "This is too hard for you." It is a voice that has been shaped by years of programming and conditioning, and even when we consciously want to manifest something new, it still exerts control over our mindset and actions. This self-sabotage manifests in many forms, but one of the most common ways it shows up is through limiting beliefs. These beliefs are deeply ingrained in our subconscious minds, often shaped by past experiences, societal expectations, or family conditioning. For instance, you may have grown up in a household where money was always tight, and the belief that there's never enough was instilled in you from an early age. This belief becomes part of your identity, and even as an adult, as you try to manifest financial abundance, this old belief holds you back. You may consciously affirm that you are wealthy and abundant, but deep down, you still carry the belief that money is scarce. This internal conflict creates a powerful block to your manifestations, as the energy of lack resonates more deeply within you than the energy of abundance. Another way the old self sabotages our manifestations is through fear. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions that keeps us tied to the past and prevents us from stepping into the future we desire. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, all of these fears are rooted in the old self. They are based on past experiences where we faced disappointment or hurt. These fears often feel very real, even if they are not based on current reality. The old self holds on to these fears because it believes they are necessary for survival. It tries to keep us safe by keeping us small and within our comfort zone, even though that comfort zone is the very place that is blocking our growth and the manifestations we want to experience. In addition to fear, the old self also operates through guilt and shame. These emotions are deeply tied to past experiences where we may have felt unworthy or not enough. The guilt of past mistakes, the shame of not living up to expectations, all of these emotions serve as chains that keep us anchored to our old identity. When we feel guilty or ashamed of who we are or what we've done, we block our ability to fully receive what the universe has to offer. These negative emotions are like energetic walls that stop the flow of abundance and prosperity into our lives. They create an energetic vibration that doesn't align with the frequency of the things we want to manifest. The universe, responding to our energetic state, brings us more of what we are vibrating at. If we're vibrating at a frequency of guilt or shame, we're more likely to manifest situations that reinforce those feelings. Self-doubt is another powerful form of sabotage. It's a quiet, pervasive voice that tells us we're not good enough, capable enough, or deserving enough of our desires. It's the belief that we don't have what it takes to achieve our dreams. This self-doubt often stems from a lack of self-worth, which is another aspect of the old self. When we don't believe we are worthy of success, love, or abundance, we unconsciously push those things away. We might self-sabotage by procrastinating, avoiding action, or not putting in the necessary effort because we are afraid that we will fail or that we don't deserve success in the first place. Procrastination is a particularly sneaky form of self-sabotage. It's easy to think that procrastination is simply about being lazy or not managing time well, but in many cases, it is actually a symptom of deeper fears and limiting beliefs. When we procrastinate, we delay taking action on our goals because on some level we are afraid. Afraid of failing. Afraid of succeeding and not being able to handle the success. Afraid of stepping into the unknown. The old self holds us back from taking bold, decisive action because it wants to keep us in the comfort of what we know. Even if what we know is painful or limiting, it feels safer than venturing into new territory. Another form of sabotage is the fear of success itself. While it might sound strange, many people are subconsciously afraid of success because it represents a major shift in identity. If you were to achieve everything you want, who would you be? What would your life look like? The old self holds on to the past, and any change, especially positive change, can feel destabilizing. It can trigger fears about being unprepared or undeserving of the new life that success brings. The old self might convince you that you're not ready for the abundance, the love, or the success that you're trying to manifest, even though you consciously believe you are. These patterns of sabotage are not always easy to recognize. They often operate beneath the surface of our awareness, quietly influencing our behavior. They show up as procrastination, resistance, and self-doubt, and they keep us stuck in a reality that doesn't align with our true desires. The old self works hard to maintain its grip on us, even when we are consciously trying to create something better. It's like trying to drive a car while the handbrake is still engaged. It's a struggle, and no matter how hard you try, you're not going to get very far. So how do we break free from this cycle of self-sabotage? The first step is awareness. The more we become aware of the ways the old self is sabotaging our efforts, the more power we have to dismantle these patterns. We must begin to notice the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that are holding us back. This requires deep self-reflection and honesty with ourselves. It's not always comfortable to face the ways we've been holding ourselves back, but it is necessary for transformation. Once we have identified these sabotaging patterns, we must begin the process of shifting our beliefs. This doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistent effort and a willingness to change. It's about rewiring our subconscious mind, replacing the old beliefs with new ones that align with the version of ourselves we want to become. This is where practices like affirmations, meditation, visualization, and energy work come into play. These tools help us shift our internal landscape and begin to resonate with the frequency of our desires. Another key to breaking free from self-sabotage is embracing discomfort. Growth happens outside of our comfort zones, and the old self is always going to try to keep us in the familiar, even if that familiarity is painful or limiting. To move forward, we must be willing to step into the unknown, to take action even when we feel fear or doubt. Every time we do this, we weaken the grip of the old self and align ourselves more with the new self, the version of us that is capable of achieving our goals and manifesting our dreams. Breaking free from the silent saboteur requires patience, compassion, and a commitment to the process of transformation. It's not about being perfect or never experiencing fear, doubt, or procrastination again. It's about recognizing when these patterns are at play and choosing to release them. It's about trusting in yourself and your ability to create the life you desire, even when the old self tries to convince you otherwise. The more you step into alignment with your true self, the less power the old self has over you. And the more your manifestations will begin to flow effortlessly into your life. The silent saboteur may be quiet, but its influence is powerful. By becoming aware of its presence, recognizing the ways it holds you back and choosing to release it, you will step into a reality that aligns with your desires. You will break free from the old self and allow the new version of you to emerge, one that is aligned, empowered, and ready to manifest everything you've been dreaming of. To step into the new self, you must first release the old version of yourself. The one that holds on to limiting beliefs, fears, and past experiences that no longer serve your highest potential. This process of shifting into alignment with your true self is transformative, but it requires conscious effort and intention. The beauty of this transformation is that it's not about changing who you fundamentally are. It's about shedding the layers that have been holding you back, allowing your true self to emerge and express itself fully. The first step in this journey is acknowledging that change is necessary. The old self, characterized by fear, doubt, and scarcity, has kept you stuck in a reality that doesn't align with your desires. The person you want to become, the one capable of manifesting your dreams, is already inside you. But to access that version of yourself, you must first let go of the past and its hold over you. This is where the process of emotional and mental release begins.